Hey everyone, Graham from Loudwire here, and today my guest, Tim Henson of Polyphia. Thank you so much, man. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. And of course, we're here today because Polyphia's Playing God is the song of the year. Um, it was a monumental year for you guys, man. I mean, like you had a lot of success going into this year with past songs, past music videos. But I think Playing God was just one of the next steps up for you guys. How did it feel to see that song uh, just go over so well with not just your fans, but with just YouTube and Spotify fans in general?
Well, first off, I think it's incredible that it's Loudwire's song of the year. It's fucking awesome, and we're very, very stoked on that. And Yeah, I mean, it felt really good because obviously we haven't put music out in 4 years, and you know, the beginning of the year felt very stale for me. Very like all I want to do is put the shit out, and the team kept saying, "Yeah, let's push it back, push it back, push it back." And finally, Playing God came out, and it really was just the most satisfying drop ever because of how hectic getting it out was. Originally, that wasn't going to be the first song. The first
Oh,
song was going to be Chimera, and what had happened was we filmed this music video that was like, the most money we've ever spent on a video. And it was really ambitious. And it came out not great. And then on top of that, Chimera, the song had leaked. And the it's not a good feeling when your music leaks, like especially after 4 years, and it's just like not getting to put it out the way that you want to put it out is like really terrible and heartbreaking. So that was like a whole thing that we were like freaking, and that's why we kept pushing it back, was because like things just weren't ready. And like when it had leaked, that was like the last straw for me. And I called the label and I was like, listen, it's time to pivot. We're not doing that song anymore. Like just we're gonna call up my dude Caleb, who like filmed the video for my archetype plugin video. And we're just gonna go shoot a regular video, like no like special effects, no nothing, literally just us playing in cool locations. And we put that together in like less than a week, got him, flew him out to Texas and just filmed it. Took a few hours, and it's just as straightforward and simple as it could be. Just camera on the fingers, camera on the playing, camera on the scene, right? And that's it. No special effects, no nothing. And it really felt like God had pushed us in that direction, when or the universe or whatever, you know what I mean? Just pushed us in that direction to drop that one first, just how well it was received. And it really felt what's the word? Like it was the right thing to do, that one first.
mm.
And yeah, just seeing how universally loved it was from our fans really made that 4 years of working and waiting worth it. So yeah, we're very stoked on it, and you know, it's just a dope thing all around. So
Yeah, you mentioned how cool that video is, and where did you film that video? Like with the amazing, cool golden sun behind you. Where is that?
that is at the Texas State Hall.
Mm.
Originally, the plan was to film it at the Meyerson Symphony Center. My background before I started playing guitar was violin, and I every year we would, as a child from age like 7 to 18, I would perform at the Meyerson Symphony Center, which is this gorgeous symphony hall, and it's literally an architectural wonder. And so I had the team email the Symphony Center saying like, "Hey, we have like a former student of the New Conservatory of Dallas, like, and he wants to like do a video here. Like, what are your availability? Blah blah." And they seemed like they were pretty into the idea, but they had like construction going on, so like it just
Uh,
didn't work out for us to get that location. And it's like very similar vibes, and it's very grand, very beautiful. And so the team, being as sick as they are, pivoted and contacted the state, like found the state hall, contacted them, got it like locked in, and like I said, within the week, you know. And yeah, so the first location, Texas State Hall. The second location was this like rich old lady's mansion.
Oh.
I didn't even know they made houses like that in Dallas. But apparently she liked party. Like she's like this old lady that just loves a party. And like have like big epic parties and stuff. That's why like she has the house, I guess. Like she lives alone.
Mm.
But yeah, so we just went there and put our feet on our couches and shit, and it was sick.
So going into this song, it's such a great progression for you guys. And of course, any of your fans know your love of harmonics. I think anybody, when they start learning guitar, they kind of learn that harmonics are just a thing that you use if you want to tune your guitar a certain way. Uh, but you don't really learn that you can make beautiful music using those at the same time. Like, when did you realize in your career as a guitarist that, harmonics were more than just, a tuning instrument or technique?
I guess when you first start, let me just get a guitar.
Okay.
I can talk about this. All right, so like you were saying with the tuning thing, if you were to do it in this order, right, it's very much just,
Yeah.
and then I guess if you were to like, it's slightly more musical if you were to like skip it, and then you've got this one, and if you were to do, it then becomes like almost like pentatonic sounding, right? And then you add in like, you've got ba-na. So then you can kind of like craft these melodies that have they're like closer in tone, like in intervals, you know what I mean? Like so versus like just having a pentatonic thing, when you have like then you can create a melody out of it, right? So it was a cool thing to discover, and I hope that and I've seen it being pushed beyond, like way beyond what I can do. There's what's called like a bell harmonic, where you like hit the fret here and then tap the octave of it. Obviously I can't do it on this guitar because it's
Right.
I don't even know how to do it that well. But you then are no longer limited by like 7, 12, and 5. You know what I mean? You can then do any fret that you want. And people like Manuel from Unprocessed are just doing like crazy melodies, like all over it, and it's all harmonics, and so I think it'll be really cool to see where people take that in the next coming years. So exciting stuff.
Polyphia videos seem to go in one of two directions. They kind of are very aesthetic and sophisticated, or they're like funny, almost meme like. When you have a song, how do you decide which song gets what treatment in the video section?
Playing God, for example, it's a very mature sounding song. It's one of our most mature sounding songs. There's quite a few on this record that like are our most mature pieces that we've made. Genesis being one, the Audacity being one, and then there's more playful songs like ABC or Neurotica, that are kind of like more bouncy, more poppy, and then there's songs like Look But Don't Touch, where it's kind of just all over the fucking place. And that's why that one got the meme treatment, was because it, like, musically it was just all over the place. But what's really odd is that like the dudes who did Look But Don't Touch really wanted to do Playing God, and they gave us like pretty much a similar treatment to ABC. And we
Wow.
were like, okay, well, let's do that for ABC. And they were like, no, we don't like ABC. We want to do Playing God. And it was like, yo, okay, well, maybe we don't do that for this one. But it's funny because when I say it's obvious on which one should get it, maybe it's not that obvious, because
Yeah.
even the people that make the videos might have differing opinions on what it should be. But that's the cool thing about being you're an artist, is that you get to make that decision. So the boys and I decided that Playing God needed to be a somewhat serious video where it was just, showcasing the performance, and that was about it. So
What do you think Polyphia from 2010 would think if they heard 2022 Polyphia? If they heard Playing God, what do you think 2010's Polyphia would think about that?
dude, that is a great question. And I don't really know. I'd like to say that I would like it,
Hmm.
but at the same time, 2010 Polyphia, at that time, I'm 16 years old. I'm in 10th grade, and I only like deathcore and hard shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't even think I liked Drake then. And so maybe I wouldn't like our music now. Maybe it would have taken me a couple of years to kind of like get out of that, like, when you're like a kid and you discover like a niche genre, and you kind of want to gatekeep it to yourself because
Oh,
it's very
yes.
special to you.
Yeah.
um and you kind of have this superiority complex about your music taste. My music taste is like better than yours because you know it's less people have heard of it, so therefore it's cooler. um that was kind of like my thing then. I was like really into like death metal and deathcore and all that, and just would kind of like shit on like mainstream music, and just because that was the cool thing to do for me.
Mhm.
But it then, I learned to appreciate mainstream music, and at that time, kind of would shit on like more niche music. Just it was like a complete flip-flop, and then since then I've rounded out all of my appreciations for everything.
Yeah.
But maybe my 10th grade self would not like it, and maybe they think it was really cool. That, I mean, I know we would, like, if we got to look into the future and see it, like all the Guitar World cover with Steve Vai, and like all the really cool stuff that's been happening. I know 10th grade me would shit himself over that, at least. So, and I know that there would be moments on Remember That You Will Die that 10th grade me would absolutely love.
Mhm.
um so
Mhm.
I wish there was a way to ask, right?
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, we've all been there with, music superiority as kids when you discover the heavy stuff and you're like, I like the heavy stuff. You can't fucking handle the heavy shit. Like, yeah, we've
Yeah.
we've all been there. We've all been there. Uh, Kind of a weird question. Of course, the record, as you mentioned, is called "Remember That You Will Die." Most people just call it Memento Mori, right? It's whenever you see a metal band or whatever, it's always Memento Mori, and they never use the English phrase of that. Why use the English phrase rather than the Latin phrase?
Well, so when we looked up what the Latin phrase meant, we were like, holy shit, that's hard as fuck. It's like, the nice thing about that phrase is that every word is a common word. They're not like English for like
Yeah.
class or whatever. Like they're very like common words that you just know, and because of that, they're very powerful. Um, and the message is a powerful one,
Mhm.
like, um, and so just having that kind of like just direct in your face translation of Memento Mori, um, it makes for really good, I guess, boldness. I saw somebody today tweet that they took a screenshot of their Spotify, and I guess Spotify had placed our album on like their front page, and it said good morning, and then it said remember that you will die, and then album by Polyphia, but like in really small text. So their
Oh,
tweet
wow.
was something along the lines of like, Polyphia is sending me really cryptic messages this morning, and fucking like it just said good morning, remember that you will die, really big. um and it works in all aspects, so I think it was a cool, it panned out really cool.
For sure. Uh, it's interesting. I hear a narrative quite a bit of, I think people who are a little bit older, they sometimes think that younger music fans don't really care about musicianship anymore because music is so digitized. Um, I don't buy that. I think that's nonsense. And I think Polyphia is, of course, a part of the proof that that's not true. What do you think about that narrative? Is that something you hear as well?
Mm, I guess being on this side of it, I hear more of the opposite of like,
Mm.
you know, people like us and Jacob Collier and, are like the musical equivalent of like, I don't know, one of those forks that like the one end is the pokey part and the other end is like the thing that you hold, and then there's a fucking like chain.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah, yeah.
it's like you can't actually use the fork, you know? And like they like to say that like our musicianship gets in the way of the musicality of it actually being something like worth listening to. So I guess I see
Oh,
more of that. But and that's obviously something we're always trying to bring more of is the musicality. When you've been a musician your entire life, these are the things that right?
mm,
This is the way that I know how to play. Um, and trying to break away from your normal, I guess, the way that your playing is rooted, trying to break away from that is a challenge. It can be challenging. So to bring in more musical elements, it's always something we're striving to do. But you know, I guess like anybody could say anything about anything like that. So you hear that on one side, and I hear the exact opposite of that.
yeah.
So but I do think like I see it on TikTok all the time, like, and it's really interesting because normally this like wouldn't be a thing, but like, okay, so picture like kind of when YouTube was starting.
Sure.
Um, do you remember that video of Canon and D? It was like this dude
Oh,
shredding
yeah,
Canon and
yeah,
D.
like the rock and roll version
Okay,
of
like
that,
yeah,
right? Yeah, that was
yeah,
sick.
yeah. There was like a
Yeah,
rock Canon and D, right?
that was
And
so
it was
good.
so awesome. That video like really like got me into like playing a bit. And then like after that, like there, it kind of like died off a bit. Like that was
Mm,
like the impressive thing. And like there were people that would upload themselves like playing like Pantera solos, but then not like nobody really cared, right?
yeah.
And then of course YouTube popped off, and then like the vloggers and whatever happened. And now we have TikTok, and I see kids doing like ACDC solos and it fucking going crazy.
Yeah.
um like just like a classic rock solo that like like at that time when YouTube started no one really would have cared, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just a pretty common thing for a guitar player to learn. It's like a AC/DC song. um and it took the guy at that time when YouTube started, it took the guy to make a rock version of a classical piece, the Canon in D, right? And
Mm,
that was like what it took to like be recognized. Now, like I said, like you get on TikTok and you'll see like a kid doing the ACDC Thunderstruck and people losing their fucking minds. Like it's
mm,
like the kids are like just discovering that like guitars do exist from not having existed on the radio for so long.
yeah.
And it's cool to see that coming back. So and the longer I'm alive, the more trends I like watch
Oh,
come
yeah.
and go. And it's just an interesting thing to like see it happen, because like when you're a kid, like I remember hearing about the 80s and the 90s thinking like on some like dinosaur shit. And just like I wasn't there for that, right?
Mm,
Like that's what these kids think about like 2010 now,
right.
you know and so I was very much there for 2010. And it's just interesting to watch it all unfold. But
Yeah, it's funny to see kids like look back so nostalgically about stuff that like how I would look back at the 90s, or you would look back at that the Canon and D thing, like the rock version of that. It's fun to watch that happen as you get older. Is the guitar you're holding right now, is that the Tree of Death?
yes,
That's so cool.
yes,
Like,
this is the POD 10N. When is this? Is this an interview or a podcast or what is this?
It's an interview, so it'll be on like YouTube and stuff.
Okay, cool. What
Yeah,
do you know when it's coming out?
probably next week.
Okay, so after December 1st.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Let me show you. Let me show you a new one.
Oh
So
wow,
this,
awesome.
not technically new, but the news will be announced on December 1st. So
Oh,
this
sick.
is the TOD 10. There's no N, right? It's just the TOD 10.
Whoa.
And this is the electric signature that's coming out on December 1st, and it has the Tree of Death inlay. And yeah, it's a really cool thing. So together, we've got the TOD 10 and the TOD 10N.
Yeah,
And this is like my signatures for the year. So cool stuff.
that's really cool. I mean, I know that the acoustic electric was based on sort of a failed model that Ibanez put out like back in the late 90s or something, because it was, I guess back then it was so niche to have like a nylon string guitar go on like an acoustic electric body. Like who the hell is actually going to use this? Uh, and now Polyphia is using
Yeah,
it.
I could definitely see like how that was not, there wasn't really a market for it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I when I had asked Ibanez about it, they were like, "Yeah, just like just didn't do well," and so we kind of just, it's like, "Oh, okay, well, this guitar is fucking awesome."
Yeah.
So I would like a modernized version, and so they were a little skeptical because they told me that like Tosin Abasi from Animals as Leaders when he was with Ibanez kind of wanted to do one as well,
Yeah.
and like they were just really skeptical from 1997, right?
Mm,
And I guess they didn't give him the green light, or like whatever happened there, that Tosin eventually just left and created Abasi guitars.
mm.
And like I, I tell this story all the time, like I had to like convince them. Like I made a
Yeah.
tweet like, if I were to put out a nylon signature, who would buy it? And of course, there's like 1,000 replies of please, please, please. So I screenshot every single one. I go to every single comment. I go to every single video that I've ever played a nylon guitar,
Mm.
and screenshot comments that say, "Oh my god, I want this so bad. Can Ibanez release this?" And then we made Playing God, the demo, and sent it to them and saying, "Here is your market. Please make this guitar." And so they did. And what's really cool is that 3 weeks after its release, it made like 2022's like top selling guitars. It was like number 5 on the list, and it had only been
Wow.
out for 3 weeks. So I'm
Wow.
curious to see like how sales will go like into the next year. And the number 1 guitar was the John Mayer Silver Sky, and then they were like 2, 3, and 4 weren't like signature models, and then my guitar is obviously a signature model. So like it's the second highest selling signature, and so I'm hoping to catch up to John, and hopefully befriend John. I love his playing and him as a
Yeah.
musician, but just a cool thing because that dude's a fucking legend, and like just to be like right behind him in signature guitar sales is just a really cool, humbling thing. So I'm fucking stoked on it and very appreciative of all the fans and all the people who have bought the guitar and everything. It's just a awesome time in my life right now. So
It's been a hell of a year for Polyphia. It's been fun to see the band grow and grow over the years, and to see people appreciate this type of music the way that they do. What's next? What are the next things that fans can look forward to?
um well, we have quite a lot of touring coming up, and so look forward to that. And also, when we made this album, we essentially kind of made 2 albums.
Hmm.
um so there's a lot of music just sitting in the vault that like we're hoping to polish and get release ready like very soon, so that we can just you know keep feeding the hungry mouths. So yeah, lots of cool stuff to look forward to. I'm in the works of doing like a lot of building a lot of new things outside of like the Polyphia, that all kind of pertain to the world of existence that we're in. So very vague, but I'm working on a lot of really cool things. So I hope that next year is met with lots of anticipation and excitement around those things. So
Yeah, well, we look forward to when it's time to hear about what those things are. And thank you again, man, for your time. It's been really cool talking with you. And congratulations on this year and playing God, the song of the year. Uh, Hard to make an argument for too many other songs because it was just such a great one this year, and it's exciting to watch.
thank you
And
so much.
thank you so much, man.
Absolutely. Thank you from me, Scott, Clay, and Clay, and our entire team. We're honored. So appreciate it.